I'm here. I'm here just setting things up. Now there's a cat on my lap. Setup has to be done. Meow meow. Meow meow. Oh, baby. I wish you wouldn't go out in the rain and come wipe your body on me. I want to try Fear again. I haven't given up on it. Hang on. Oh, little cat. I hear nothing. Nope, that's correctly set. That's how it should be. Oh, I really wish this worked. I had a lot of fun last time. This is always so much fun. I always want to come back to it. There we go. It's just so buggy. I see why Lithtech fell out of use. Fingies crossed. Cross your fingers. Cross your toes. I'll know if you don't do it. Oh, fuck, it loaded. We can keep going. We can keep going. Yeah! Oh, that's sweet. That's beautiful, man. I don't want to waste ammo.
There are replicas everywhere. They've taken the city.
That's the smarter move. I don't want to ditch all my shotgun ammo, but I'm not gonna get any more minigun ammo until I get another minigun. Because of how this game works. Which really removes the dilemma of discarding guns. It's just such a beautiful aesthetic. It reminds me of Deus Ex, but looks way better. Makes me want to get Wretched, even though Wretched is not uniformly well reviewed, sadly. Oh, let me check that. Let me check how Wretched is reviewed. Maybe they improved it. Reviews are positive. They were mixed last I looked. But they want fucking $25 for it. That's not happening. Yep. Hang on. How do I work this? Am I seeing this correctly? Could I stream from a phone if I didn't want to have a dedicated laptop? Short Talk, I'm asking you. If I wanted to set up a stream in the aquarium room, could I possibly do that without having to set up a laptop? Or if I'm going to do 2 cameras, do I need a laptop for that? That gave me real tinnitus. Or was that simulated? Oh, we live in the cyberpunk future. You can't tell what's real or not. So VR is having a funny year. It's got the most games coming out this year, but everyone's saying it's also dying. Just because the general slump in the industry is applying doubly so to VR studios since fewer people have it. So we're living through the last hurrah of the current iteration of VR, I fear. I should probably fix my index controller. I've got some VR games I want to play. I also love my index. It's funny how intimate VR headsets are. Not like sexually. I mean like because it sits on your face. The interface becomes something that you have muscle memory for. You have like sensory memories of.
I don't know where to go.
Nope. Something nostalgic about mid-2000s video game cars. Am I wrong?
I don't know where to go.
Oh, this will be fun. Janky, janky, jank. You dead? No Easter egg? Oh, boo. I'm glad we get to keep playing, though. I'm really enamored of fear. That's a new level of mecha I haven't seen before. They're really having to scale up the enemies. Oh, that was weird. I can take a rocket like a champ, though. I must have some of that good armor. Frame rate's turning into shit. Hang on. I gotta do the thing, I think. You know what might be smart is letting people buy ads on Hampshire. Not like pop-up ads, but like actual billboards on Hampshire. This is just as good as it gets, apparently. Oh no, no. I don't know what's going on. Oh, well now. I thought I destroyed them all. Evidently that's not the case. Also, I should be able to dual wield these. It's kind of bullshit that I can't. But now it's smooth. What gives? Let's get the fuck out of here! If I can backtrack far enough, I can get my shotgun. There we go. They really like to throw you into unwinnable situations that you have to run from. That's kind of clever, though, in a game about Supermans, to have the ghosts not be the worst monster. Continually teach you to be afraid of flesh and blood humans. Alright, so it's got gonads. Whatever those red things are, those are a weak point. It's like how you can shoot the big chungus from Halo in the, I forget what they're called, Hunter, in the small of the back. Or you can detonate the pig cop tanks and do them 3D from behind. Oh, if I could have done an end run around him, I could have gotten a rocket launcher. That would have made life easier. Or were they fighting each other? Are they not on the same side? Stream manager. Where do I go? Here we go. What a confusing app. Make sure I'm not on BRB. There we go. What I don't want is for the Hampshire setup when I repair it to be taxing on my computer all the time. I want a separate computer to actually stream. Which means I'll need a laptop. Also to declutter the garage. Is this a haunted Mountain Dew machine? It is.
Don't know, do you? What you are? Why you're here?
Am I gay? You are gay. No! I mean, that's fine, maybe. That would greatly uncomplicate my life. Actually, no, it wouldn't. That's a misconception. Gay guys have their own troubles. Mostly from the dating pool being supremely superficial. Even more so than men already are. This is not a mall food court. This is a subway station. It never ends. I'm still in the subway station somehow. It's like Lost in Vivo.
Why run? You cannot escape something you have been part of since before you were born.
Oh, I'm one of the Spooberman experiments. No, John, you were the demons. And then John was a zombie! I can't get away from using that trope myself. I know it's the most hackneyed trope. It's introduce the player to some kind of spooky thing that looks human. And then the big twist at the end is that the main character was one of those things all along. It's used in Blade Runner. It's used in... There's a John Carpenter movie where a photographer, I believe, comes across a village on the coast populated by reanimated corpses that don't necessarily remember that's what they are initially. And there's a double whammy at the end where first he sees the main character, the cult leader, fucking his wife, but it implies that she's one of the corpses, and he's like, no! No! And then it shows him in the picture too. And it's like, double no, triple no. It's like, what if a cult leader fucked your wife, and also she was a zombie, and also he was a zombie, and also you're a zombie?
You're not coming, are you? I'm going
Yep.
I want to die with them.
That's about the size of it. Make your peace with whatever god you worship.
John, what's happening? I can't reach anybody.
Is that the real one? Is it the real waifu? And that was his Superman on the other end? Oh, this is telegraphing a boss fight. It's giving me a sniper rifle. That's not a good sign. You know, there's been a lot of articles recently about purposing malls as housing, and I keep hearing people say who are actually in development industry that's a terrible idea, because then you have to run plumbing to each one of the individual units, and they don't necessarily have it. That's why malls have communal bathrooms. Like, malls would not make economic sense if you had to provide all amenities to every single lot. The idea is that that's just retail space. It's bulk retail space, which doesn't need the things that a house does, and that they save a lot of money on having a lot of retail space by having them all share bathrooms and shit like that. And that it would be cheaper just to tear it down and build a new building than it would be to run pipes to every single lot, which doesn't seem right. It's apparently common already. One of the compromises is to repurpose the mall as different things that make sense in the era of Amazon, which is like concert venues. They keep the skating rinks, stuff that you can't replicate online. Nightclubs, bars, and then they just have a apartment block that's a part of the mall or adjacent to it. That sounds like the capitalist nightmare, but honestly, it also sounds really cozy if you're autistic, because you don't ever have to go outdoors. You do have to mix with people, but it's like the futuristic equivalent of a small town, but it's weather independent. It doesn't matter if it's snowing or if it's raining or if there's a hurricane. You have a lot of air conditioned, heated, high quality shared indoor space for general purpose usage.
Stay alert. Go! Team, get to go. Suppressive fire.
That didn't work. How am I supposed to do this? There's a lot of them. Was that really all of them? Easier than it should have been. This felt like a million guys. It's actually what a mall was supposed to be in the first place. They're supposed to have housing around them. And there's supposed to be a social area to force people, not force them, to coerce socialization. Socialization? That sounds like that there's socialism. I don't like the sound of that. I'm just talking about people having to look at each other's faces and meeting their neighbors. Like, I have never... Not never. I think once or twice in the entire time I've lived here, I've ever spoken directly to my neighbors. And there are very limited ways to fix that. Walt Disney had some ideas. Part of the purpose of Epcot was to deprive you of ways to isolate yourself. to make people interact, which actually does not increase happiness for everybody. For some people, that's what's missing from their lives, and they didn't even know it. And they become happier when they do socialize. But for some people, that makes them miserable. Where the fuck am I? Where am I? I was just in a train station. What is this building? What is this for? It's basically, we have arcologies at home. It's like the budget arcology. Which, on a realistic scale, given the available money and resources and material properties. Which might be better off, because it would restrict the population to Dunbar's number or lower. It's funny to picture the cameraman in those situations. It's like imagining the Doom guy as like a cameraman with a gun 2 inches from his nose. Where am I going? What is this? What is this? This is nothing. Why is this here? Why do the doors close themselves? I forgot I could do that. What a fumble that they didn't patch door kicking into the first game. This is in most respects just better across the board. Which it should be. DLC should be better. It doesn't work. Nothing there, nothing there. This is how I open doors. I just go around knocking everything open. If this is a modern shooter, you'd be able to draw on this. Also, hot take incoming. Had Duke Nukem Forever come out in like 2002, which was it was originally gonna, it would have been fucking revolutionary. A lot of things we didn't see until like Half-Life Alyx were in Duke Nukem Forever 2001. The 2001 build, which was slated for release in 2002. It's a funny and sad story. I think it's kind of funny. I think it's kind of sad. When I talk with my therapist about showering with my dad. What? No. The reason it didn't come out when it was supposed to, it was like 90% finished, is because George Broussard saw a preview of Doom 3 and it's like, that lighting is amazing. We have to have that. He had insecurities about his game appearing old-fashioned in screenshots next to more advanced games. Unfortunately, Stencil Shadows broke a lot of stuff about how the game was rendered in Unreal Engine. Most notably hair. And just a bunch of stuff. And it required a lot of stuff to be rebuilt from the ground up in order to make the lighting work. Which is how we got to the DNF 2011. It's just completely redone assets. They're like, as long as we're remaking the assets, we better target a... As long as we got to remake the assets to work with a new lighting engine, since that's going to take a long time, we should target a higher hardware spec that's going to be relevant by the time this game actually comes out. He had the same problem Sega had, his insecurity. It just goes to show how poisonous insecurity is. Sega was always playing catch-up with the Nintendo, which is why the Saturn controller was not a 3D controller from the start. It it was a Super Nintendo controller with more buttons. Why the hardware of the Saturn was basically SNES on roids. They're always just saying, what other guys doing? What is our competitor doing? Let's do that, but a little bit better. And I think Broussard forgot that Duke Nukem 3D was only state of the art for like a week before Quake came out, and nobody cared. Everyone still loved Duke 3D. It didn't matter that it was out of date, almost on arrival, because it made up for it in other ways. Technology is not the only thing that matters. If they just mutinied. Also, I really fucking hope we get that build one day. I really, really hope that someone finds a gold CDR. What's that sound? Because there's no need for the fan project DNF Restored to painstakingly restore DNF if we can just find the version that was almost done in the first place. It's funny how much of the, I don't say retro, it's not exactly the retro community. It kind of is, but it's more of a restorationist community. There's a lot of games that are being picked up and dusted off. And fixed. Fixed is a harsh word, but fixed. By the fans, using the magic of unlimited volunteer hours, whereas the games that we're talking about did not have the benefit of unlimited volunteer development hours. That's why we're getting new old games like GTA on Dreamcast, GTA 3, and SRB 2 on 32X. And we also got Doom 64 on Dreamcast not too long ago. Next thing you know, we'll unearth the Shenmue build for Saturn. We're entering into a golden age with all this new technology available to recreate past eras in entertainment history. So you can almost kind of simulate being alive at that time if you weren't. Or if you were, you can recreate those days where it feels like your favorite gaming machine or company is current and relevant again, and you're getting constant new releases. There's even still 8 and 16-bit projects. There's I forget the name of the Genesis one. There's Eartheon, which is, I think, a Genesis shooter or NES shooter. There's Former Dawn, the NES game. There's that Blood Sword or whatever the fuck game for Genesis, which is going to come out alongside the 32X FPGA Neptune. Why does this not open? Where do I go? George is getting angry. It's just, there's so much support for everything. And the tools are so good that any gaming wish you might possibly have is realizable. Nobody gets left out in the cold anymore, and nothing lasts, but nothing is lost. Where the fuck do I go? Do I climb? Do I have to climb? Oh, I climb! I feel dumb. Look at them stencil shadows. Guess I'm kind of partial because sector-based engines have what look like stencil shadows. Unless you're prepared to waste a lot of extra sectors on lighting gradients, you kind of have to have shadows that look just like this. I've always thought it looked more striking and distinctive. Wait, well, let me see. Alright. I need to check something. Alright, that's what I thought it was. You ever hear a sound that you're not sure if it was in the game or for real?
Squad, close in.
Especially cat noises or doorbells. I get him? Looks like I got him. Oh, I do still love the shotgun. Look at how pretty everything is. It's got that simple, stark beauty of the Source engine. With a heavier focus on lighting. Simple level geometry with really beautiful lights.
Hurry.
Oh, it's the little ghost girl from every horror movie. I'm not invincible. I can in fact be one-shotted with a shotgun. Those dynamic shadows. Not seen again until Doom 3. Did Doom 3 look better than this? I would say this looks more realistic. You got your help. I came from here. What was your your threshold, your barometer of game progress in the engine? For me, it was like remember when for metal gratings they would use like a PNG for like a fence or anything with like fine detail? When they started doing that with polygons instead, I'm like, okay, now this is pod racing. You know what I mean? Good looking water was one of them.
Hurry.
Already triggered that one. That's half a man.
Search this area. Squad, check in. Squad, check in. Squad, get to cover.
What the fuck happened? I didn't hit the right button in time. This will be a much better game in VR. I know I say that a lot, but this doesn't feel as engaging when I'm just hunched over a computer looking at a monitor pushing buttons. When it's a contest of life and death, it feels much more meaningful if it comes down to my actual motor skills and shooting as I would in a real situation. Does that make sense? Also, anything with swords, anything with melee combat feels much more meaningful and impactful in VR. It doesn't matter if it's like an RTS. If it's an RTS, I want to play on a monitor. But obviously anything first person should be VR by now. Long since.
Search this area. Movement.
Nope. All right. There's someone behind him.
Search this area. Look out, grenade. Take him out.
Oh shit! He's got a railgun. That's what keeps killing me. So there's a Chungus with a railgun. Oh, Pavlov changed engines from what to what?
Search this area. Watch out, grenade.
Are you dead? Thank goodness. Shotgun's all you need, really. Except for these fuckers with their fucking Warhammer armor. Warhammer. Did they call it Harmer in Warhammer? It seems like they should. Seems like something they would do. It's not armor, it's Harmer. A lot fewer phones this time, which is appreciated. I guess because the first game was more about world building. Much needed and much appreciated. Hurry. I'm fucking hurrying. As Speak of the devil.
Jenny, it's John. Stay where you are. I'm coming to you.
Telegraphing a either boss fight or just a lot of dudes. Well, he had the last laugh, didn't he? I'm gonna save laser because I can't seem to hit them for shit with it.
What's your status? No response.
There we go. May as well ditch the rockets. Oh shit, it's one of these. They give you a lot of fun toys to play with in this. Saw a movie I liked recently, Gentlemen Broncos. It was made in 2009. Could hardly have believed it. I know someone who would have liked that, and it's a shame that we're not on talking terms anymore, because I would have liked to share that with them. But it's about it's kind of like Napoleon Dynamite, but it's about an author living in a shithole frozen flyover state. And he lives in a cool geodesic dome. And he grew up obsessed with science fiction novels. And he's homeschooled, so he's very awkward and kind of stunted. As is everyone else he knows, because they all go on the same trips on the same homeschooling bus. And he goes to a writer's convention, and there's a really conceited, full of himself pro-author there who's this guy's hero. Until he discovers what a shit person he is. And, he gets disillusioned, but he still submits his manuscript anyway because there's a contest. But the author, who's about to be dropped by his publisher because he can't come up with any new ideas, really likes the kid's manuscript, and he steals it and changes some things about it. And what's compelling about it is they actually visualize scenes from the novel in a sort of hokey replica of 1960s science fiction movies. It's something else. It's really hard to convey in a way that will make sense. I do recommend it. It's a fun watch.
Soon you will have a choice to make. You are near the time when you have to stop.
Preventing flashlight usage, that's a choice. Oh, it's the Kokiri Forest. It's the Infinite Maze. Right, that was the right one, actually. Cool puzzle, if you can call it that. Oh, look at this fucking dual monitor Chad in 2005. Look at that gaming PC. I think it was a real case. I kind of still want that case. Is that still made anywhere? What do you have to do to get one of these? Not my problem. This is the city. Is this Silent Hill spoopers? Oh no, that's my teammate. I didn't save her. If that's real, that's really sad. I might actually need that. They don't usually give it to you unless you're gonna need it. Look at that hot PC case. That's a Dell? No way. Dell XPS. This is an in-game advertisement, isn't it? Am I gay because I said this case looked good? I can allow it.
Cover the door. Cover fire. Take cover. Which way? Oh shit! George.
If this is so strong, why does it gotta shoot 3 at once? Isn't there a French semi-auto that shoots 3 bullets at a time, but also it has a cartridge with the number of bullets not divisible by 3? Oh, that almost ended very badly. In fact, I shall not die, my good lad. It will be you that perishes upon this day.
Hi, sweetheart. Just checking in. The explosion's all over the news, and I just wanted to make sure you're okay.
Take cover. Target sighted. Craig, get down.
It feels like cheating. I'm just so monstrously OP right now. And it feels so good. Oh shit, oh no. This still just looks so sharp and beautiful. I made the right choice waiting to play this for like a decade. Literally a decade. Oh no, out of memory. MFer. Core 2 Core 2 Duo. Well, the case looked nice. You know that there's a lot of consoles and computers I want to love because they had something unique about them, but they just suck too bad and have made too many bad choices. And there's a lot of people like that, like my sister. Rest in peace. There's just people you love in your life, and you wanna see them succeed, but it's just contrary to their nature. They just are who they are, and you support them anyway, and they kind of limp along, continuing to make ludicrously poor choices. I guess I'm one of those people for you. I want to say I'm not that bad, but I also can't make any good argument why that's so. Don't you do what I think you're gonna do. No, that's all the way back to the beginning. Why would you do that? This still looks really damn good. I want to shut up about that, but I can't. It lets me hold 10 health. It's like Chris Chan. Wait, no, it's not like Chris Chan because nobody likes him. Well, who's a good example? Like Asmongold? Where there's compelling attributes that keep people on his side and rooting for him to succeed, but he is just a just inherently dysfunctional person who's always kind of gonna be that way, like the frog and the scorpion. But now, not exactly. I mean, it's without betrayal. It's not a story of betrayal. It's a story of just somebody being unable to get out of their old habits and needing some very patient friends to extract their good output. It's like a cow who gives great milk if you milk it, but also punches you in the face.
Cover the door.
Come on. I dare you. Stay down, stay down. Is there a protocol for playing dead if you get completely fucking swamped and overpowered? And just hope they don't check the bodies? I know there's a lot of stories in World War I of guys hiding under bodies to survive. That's particularly ghoulish, gruesome. Imagine the smell. Imagine the feeling of the dead bodies still slightly warm on top of you and bleeding onto you. This plays like a Quake game at some points. Because of all the fucking super weapons. If you just hip fire all the time and jump bunny hop, suddenly it's just Quake 4. That was much neater than my first run. Human brain as a learning engine is much better the second time around than the first, which is unfortunate because a lot of these situations, if you fuck up the first time, you're dead. Go away, helicopterman. Laser's probably my favorite so far. I wish we got more chances to use it. Don't do that! Am I gonna have to wait and reboot my computer again to get this to load correctly? Do not fucking do this to me. I have a strong motive to work on the habitats now, though, because I have the thing I can't talk about. It almost feels sacrilegious not to play this on my big CRT. Like, I would have played it that way back in the day, and it would have looked so gorgeous. I would have nutted. I fucking nutted over how good Quake 4 looked.
Hi, sweetheart. Just checking in. The explosion's all over the news, and I just wanted to make sure you're okay.
Oh, Kevin Cosgrove all over again. Let me backtrack and grab some health. That will prove to have been worthwhile, I feel. Doom 3 didn't look that great because even when it was state of the art, they made a lot of compromises on texture resolution. But Quake 4 largely rectified everything wrong with it, and Quake 4 and Prey really showcased what that engine could do at its apex. With high polygon assets and high resolution textures, that game engine still looks pretty modern. Expansion copied the gravity gun, which I don't like, but I do think it was a lot of fun. Catching imp fireballs and throwing... Oh, nope, didn't do... It's doing the thing again. Remember catching imp fireballs and throwing them back? And yanking lost souls around with it? It's still a hoot in VR. It just chaps my ass that the only way to play Quake 4 or Prey in VR is if you own a Quest. It should not be stuck on Quest. I'm being very, very patient, waiting for Gaben to release the Deckard so that Team Beef can port it to the Deckard. Okay, I guess no more fear tonight. We're gonna have to wait until tomorrow. Not tomorrow, I mean the next stream. When I have a chance to reboot the computer. I think it needs to clear memory or some shit. Nope, this is still doing the same old tricks again, too. Fuck. Let's see if Akiona works. Akiona. I know exactly what that means. I assume that start. Let me know you got video and audio. I don't understand that. I don't understand that either. I don't speak Japanese. Didn't realize I needed to. Let me start over. Oh, oops, that actually makes it worse. Let me use my translator app. Start road game. Oh, load game. And turn the VHS filter off. I got home late. It's getting dark. Let's go home quickly. All right, right click. Right click is flashlight. Really? That's weird. Everything else is pretty standard. I can kind of trick it into ultra wide mode. The stuff off of the edge of the screen kind of glitches. Hey, baby. Is that the Akiona? She got the dumpy. Should we follow her? No, that's creepy. I feel like this is a character test. Let's not bother her. Let's not be like Johnny Somali. Cool fucking 2004 PS2 looking asset. And that says, this is not the way home. It's a very pure horror game, stylistically. The person from earlier. It's pretty eponymous. It looks pretty bad. What's that word mean? I'm scared, so let's go home early. Indeed. We can stop for a delicious beverage. There's another good example of the kind of thing that would have been a flat texture some years ago, that now that we can afford all the polygons to model all this with. Like, there are games on N64 where one level had fewer polygons than all these drinks. Well, Japan, if you don't want ghosts, why do you design these spooky cement troughs? You're just inviting ghosts. Why your ghost so sexy? You're giving me a fear boner. I'm scare-roused. That's clear enough. Thank you for not leaving anything to be confused about. I think I'm gonna hide under here. I live under here now. How do you keep homeless people out of here? Being a Portlander, I see little alcoves like this, and we have an internalized tweaker burrowing instinct in order to identify where to stay away from, because there's probably a person living in there. Like in Portland, there would be a curtain over here. If you went under here, in this spot, there would be a cot or like a mattress. There'd be a bunch of needles and bicycle parts and bags of cans. Which I used to be very naive about. If you remember, I made those videos about handing out care packages. I was wrong of me. I didn't know that we have transient homelessness basically solved. If you are on the streets in Portland and you place a phone call to the right number, a van comes and picks you up. Who dat? Within like 15 minutes, wherever you are. He didn't even open the door. You didn't even need to model or animate that person. I wouldn't have missed it. Anyway, a reporter tested this. A reporter pretended to be homeless and had someone approach her and ask, "Do you want to be housed? And are you willing to do rehab?" And she said yes to both. And it was a box truck that showed up from the city, one of its services, and took her to a housing unit, or a transitory shelter pursuant to a housing unit, I think. Which is good to know. That's reassuring that as long as I never take up any hard drugs, if I'm ever homeless, there's an easy way out of it. As long as the current level of support for the unhoused community does not ever self-destruct. And as long as there's just endless money for throwing at that project. It's just the one thing you need to not do is you need to not be on fentanyl. I don't know why that fixes the resolution and aspect ratio. Would you fuck the ghost? Frankly, I probably would. Huge titties are huge titties, and they're very rare. You can't be picky about where you get them. Wait. Can I do this without using my phone? Is there like a plugin for Windows that will do what I'm doing right now? That's Chinese, isn't it? Is that Chinese or Japanese? I am the police, he says. What are you doing at this time? I'm on my way home. At a time like this? What, late at night? Yes. Seems you're not lying. I can tell by looking at your face. You have an honest face. I don't know if that's scientific. Do you always take this road? I always walk along this road when I have class at university. Did I walk this road 3 days ago? 13 days ago? Why do you ask that? You didn't like that question. There was a murder 3 days ago. The victims are a couple of knuckleheads. Perpetrator first killed his wife while she was sleeping. She's something killing her husband. The body had been stabbed multiple times and was terrible to look at. I shouldn't have to do this with my phone. This should be part of Windows. Did you see any suspicious people on your way home? Should I narc on the ghost? I saw a man running. I'm not going to narc on the ghost. The ghost is cute. Man running. Maybe an important clue to the case. I'll hear more about it at a later date. It's already late, so go home early. Will the ghost reward me with huge spooky titties? Spooky boobs, they're gonna spook ya! Spooky boobs. They sexy nuke ya. Sounds like a Japanese Super Sentai power move. Sexy nuke! Actually, they probably wouldn't do that, because, you know, we nuked them. I hear footsteps. I didn't rat you out. What are those birds doing? What was that about? They're just flying into the... That's not how birds work. There's a level on which I empathize with the unhoused in Portland, even the addicts, because I don't think anyone wants to pay rent. And the renter class has an intrinsic motive to make it impossible to escape rent-seeking behaviors. If you rent a property, you don't want there to be any alternative to renting. Kind of like how the automotive industry bought up all the streetcars and shut them down. So you had to own a car. Am I gonna get this suck? Can't believe there's an incident, a murder in the neighborhood. I want to go down that road again. I'm hungry. I wonder if there's anything in the fridge. These are surreal moments in horror games where you're doing mundane things in a realistic environment and it just feels like real life. And you can forget for a second that you're in a horror game, so fucked up shit has to happen. That's an unfortunate direction for the door to open. I can't put this down. I can't put this down. Tiny fucking Japanese apartment. There we go. Let's see who that is. I can't... Nope. Alright, peephole. Nobody's there. It's that guy from before, isn't it? If I turn the cop onto the right guy, the right perpetrator, I assume the cop saves me by nabbing the actual killer. I don't believe such a lovely ghost would do anything wrong. Who eats like that? That's disgusting. My stomach is full. It damn well ought to be. Are you going to sleep soon? Who are you asking? It's got a full tub, though. It's more than a lot of Japanese places have. They often have those tiny little tubs where you have to crouch up your legs. Also, Japanese properties typically have flash heating systems for the water, so that they don't have hot water tanks. They have a system that takes about 3,000 watts to rapidly heat water as it passes through a pipe. Ah, well. Hoodman. Something I can help you with? You just moved in recently? Yes, that's true. Who are you? You better be careful. Saw a strange woman standing at the door several times. She just wants love. It's really creepy. I thought I should let you know. That's it. See you then. He might be a good guy after all, but I still want to meet that ghost. I don't care if she kills me. As long as she does it by sitting on my face until I can't breathe. No? Wish I didn't automatically open the front door. Be nice if I could just peer through the... Let's go. I'm sleep maxing. She wouldn't kill me in front of a cat, would she? Hello? Mush mushy. Can't read that. You work overtime today too? I've been busy with work lately. Can't go home on time this month. More importantly, what happened? It's unusual for you to call. Did something happen? Is something important to talk about? I want to talk to you at home. Please come back soon. Who is that? Who am I talking to? Is he married? He better not be. His heart should belong to Ghost Waifu. What? I'm home. Tadaima! I know a little bit of Japanese from anime, which I should be ashamed of. Don't worry, I am. I wonder if he's asleep already. I mostly know words that anime girls shout when they're being raped by tentacle monsters, like Yamete Kudasai and Tasukete. I'm a fucking foul monster. But on the other hand, it was educational, so how bad could it be? Also, we don't know for sure that it's always non-consensual. We shouldn't shame anyone who prefers intimate congress with the tentacled creatures. In the future, that may be a legitimate sexuality. I guess it will depend on how many genetically modified tentacle monsters are created by that time. Seems like something Japan would invest resources into. None of these open up, huh? What? I sure wish I could turn vertical sync on. I also don't know why this is taxing my computer enough to need it. Is that real? No, that it's in the game, right? I have very parental instinct response to hearing a cat meow because I love my little Torvington. Oh, there's blood here. There's blood here. The cabinet's open. There's someone with a knife? I want to turn it off, but I can't. It sure does run like shit. I don't like this. This is spooky. Has there ever been an anime about like a police task force set up to hunt down tentacle monsters because of the constant danger they apparently pose to anime schoolgirl virginity? That's a dead body. That's an entire adult dead body. Such what? Such what? Are you kidding? I doubt it. It's not what one jokes about. That seems like an obvious anime plot. Tentacle monster animal control. Tentacle monster response force. Hey baby. Right this way. If I have to go out, I don't mind it. If it's like that. Oh, was it a dream? Or could it be this hour? Or was that somebody else just now? The dumpy looks alright. I don't think I'll open that. It's crazy. Need to contact the police soon. So she can't go through doors. The police said it'd take 2 minutes to arrive. You can't stand it for 2 minutes. Oh. You died. I guess don't go near the window. I'll do the most Japanese thing possible, cowering in the corner, trying to ignore. That doesn't work either. Why must we fight each other? Why can't we make sweet love and reconcile our differences that way? No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. It's gonna turn out you have to hide in different rooms at different times to survive the full 2 minutes. She's gonna find me in here. She's coming. She's gonna break in. The solution can't just be hide in the bathroom. It's gotta require that I hide in different rooms. Really? That's all there is to it? I guess just hide in the bathroom like a coward. Don't run away from love. Don't run away from the best sex of your life, probably. Woman gave chase, fled before police arrived. I don't know why she attacked me. We just passed, but the woman still has not been caught. I feel like I can hear those footsteps every night. It's so creepy. I've decided to move out soon. I just hope she's caught. If you had more fucking Riz, you could have gotten your dick wet and fucking twisted up like a tornado in her ghostly pussy vacuum. Oh, cool. It just opens right through her. No, that's fine. That's ghost crime for you. Look at that. Look at that fupa. The sweeter the fupa, the sweeter the chalupa. That's what they say. I want to say that wasn't exactly scary. It could have been better than it was. Should we start Mundaun? I feel like that's a more of an investment of time. I wonder how long it is. It doesn't say how long it is. 7 hours to beat. We should just do this one. It's not going to take that long. We can do it in 2 streams. Green wall structure. Weird that you didn't let me use my mouse. That doesn't bode well. Annapurna, really? They did Stray. I do love these Scandinavian spoofer games, like Northern Journey, which I guess technically wasn't a spoofer game per se, but it was a beautiful, wonderful adventure I will never forget. That's a grim-looking child. Was Sweden really that bad? I mean, it is today. What's going to happen with the European situation with the refugees, I wonder? Really seems like something's got to give sooner or later. Pretty old-timey bus. I wonder when this takes place. Welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. Swedish edition.
Ja, uns in Vergai, de piquete stau se queu. Eu estou mal, que eu ai nauxas novas partai. Il clavau de teu car tat florin ai berjaus giù. Cura che ti leges quelles lingues et el dediz traus.
I understand completely.
Il è buon necessari che ti fetches il leun viadi si queu. Chissas denton esser sigirs, florin aveva fetch, pui signau, plavon Jeremias, visneunca de Mundaun.
Can I get out?
Si già è curioso di quella breve. E sto vedere come sagens els che scabiau.
Investigate burn down barn. Gotcha. Can I stand up? I can. Clouds above and below.
Coccala, c'era sparta, quai mondi il mon plin in giù.
The sea of fog.
Il clavau de tazza s'anfla, s'enflava alla fin di quella senda.
Keep instinctively wanting to hit F5. Color wasn't invented yet.
Il clavau de tat.
Slow zoom.
Pergiaus giù il talite.
Beh. Little fella.
Ehi, ci fa stica?
Pet the goat. Your name is Totes. Totes my goats. Maybe that's plural though. It should be singular. Tote my goat. I shall still call him Totes. What's that? Is this Mario 64? What's happening? The elderly. I knew they were behind this.
Passa bene, mia giovane. Posso seguire te non? Entra. Ade specifiche ciot.
Ci esses vos?
I'm Curtin.
Senza un miglia mide te non.
Sai liber mai!
Ascoltate vostro. Ma con prima di regali un uomo e la metà in cui si spürta il meme.
So he burns me, so I'll remember him. Did that happen in the canonical past of the main campaign, or... I've been hearing talk about holding a special election. I've also been hearing people suggest that what's happening in Britain is that there's a arrangement between Saudi kings and the royalty of Britain, or government officials, to allow all this mass migration and to look the other way and take a light touch on policing their activities. In which case, it's rotten all the way to the core, and there's nothing to be done about it because Britain's disarmed a long time ago. Had they not, there would be blood in the streets now. It's crazy to think there's some people who defend
Si
it.
chi ha spindrau quella del feu che impegna? Tac dove mes liennele perché uam fiella.
I think people like that just act out of social programming, media programming, and what they feel is kindness, ethics, I guess, but they don't really stop to say, why do I support this? Like, I imagine in their shoes, if I were self-aware, which they're not, but if they were, They should be looking at all these grooming and abuse cases and saying, why do I enable this? Why is this, like, what, to own the chuds? Like, at some point you have to become self-aware and think about what you're doing and your reasons for it and you know what I mean?
Hina fotografia veglia da mai sca affon en semen contat. Essa sevel scibugen sil muvel e fidievel sca da di con el. Si levar da vos a una schizza. Si levar da vos a una schizza. Dat, ja è schabiau contai.
His beard consumed him. It's more beard than man by the end.
Avon in perdisa eu surveniu quella brev de plevon Jeremias. El scrive che mutazza di morts e les flammas can destruis cu la speranza de venissi su de pli son io viaggiaus e les montagnes del Mundaun.
So is the gameplay about magic paintings? Is that what this is? What am I looking at here?
Jaus en ciel. El sto sentiu che la sarà usen. Sese simplement cheu. Aspeccia si feu. La pipa che salva le las memoria.
That's an adventure game.
Ja vegna d'un flyne via per rompere quella maledizione. Tat.
Malediction. Am I trapped in here? There's no jump key. Okay, crouch. There's no crouch key. Here we go. That didn't seem like something a normal wall would do.
Scettata è un cheu. Ci ha Jeremias lu setrau?
That's a valid question. Well, it's an adventure game in the vein of Penumbra. I have no objections. Except perhaps the black and white art style, which I'm sure will grow on me at some point. This is kind of fucking sick. Does remind me a lot of Northern Journey. Maybe just the height map mountains and huge open areas. I would sure like to play this in VR. What if Papa Gaben just mandated that all games must at least display in VR, even if they still use controller inputs? Would that be based? It'd make it a lot easier for the fans to mod in motion controls. If it at least had support for the headset.
C'è fai una fotografia sbrigata da Michael. Observaci ci mai. In una fotografia veglia a se sevel scibugenzi. Si la varta vosa in una schizza.
What is? They do have electricity up here. What's the time period? What's the purpose of the? If this is not like the toilet, and it has a hole here that just shit falls on the ground. Spooky open world adventure. Hard to say no to this. Should probably change the stream title. It happened automatically. Is that a new feature? I didn't change it. If that's a new feature, I'll be very happy. Because the games have Steam codes that it should be able to read in the application. In this year of our Lord 2025, we should not still have to. We should not still have to manually switch the title of the game we're streaming.
Na, bugia.
This is for animals. Then you got like bleeding and braying sounds coming from the floorboards. Suppose this is the barn. Is this not a puzzle? It really looks like a puzzle. I guess I should take a picture of this or some shit. I think I will. That's gonna be important later. Where's grandfather's grave? Judging by the bus, this is later than the 1800s, but earlier than like the 1940s. I want to say 1910 or 1890, thereabouts.
Lausot la Cruz Grande a il Senteri.
Oh, there's the graveyard. If I'd known it was this style of game, I would have played it sooner.
La caplotta de Jeremias.
That's a shitty walkway. It just kind of ends. You gonna
Non
open
c'è
it?
risposta.
Well, time to break and enter. Alright, so 1890 would have been too early. I'd say 1910 to 1920 would have been about accurate. Electricity was also very new in 1910. They wouldn't have had it in an alpine village. So it has to be later than that. The echoing of that woman's voice sounds a lot like what birdsong is like on mushrooms. Just echoing and overlapping itself. That's remains some of the most sublime music I've ever heard. And I think the inspiration for a lot of choir music is just the perception of angels singing just being psychedelic auditory hallucinations. I'm a strong believer that the divine communion of holy books is mostly just small cults using psychedelics when they weren't widely known. Which, I mean, if you think about it, if you lived way back then and you lived a very simple life and you're a very ignorant person, a subsistence farmer, a goat herder, psychedelics would blow you the fuck away. People get one-shotted by ayahuasca today, despite having all our modern understanding of mental health and mental illness and neuroscience and what the brain is capable of. You still have turbo normies who work office jobs get convinced that they commune with God or with four-dimensional demons or what have you, and they go off and they quit their job at Google to be a professional mermaid performer, which is a real thing that happened. So it would be all the more true and potent of an effect if you had none of that contextual information. Am I right? You see what I mean? Jelly bean? Like if some guy inducted you into a cult and gave you psychedelics and it was the first time in your life you'd had anything like that, you would think it was magic. You couldn't not think it was magic. If modern people often assume that too. You would have no chance not to be completely fucking bamboozled. You would have found the only group of people in the world who had ever shown you anything remotely paranormal.
Pare sco Jeremias vesserau il senteri.
Which makes me wonder what jaguars think about DMT when they dose themselves by chewing vines. What do they think is happening in their jaguar brains? Why build here? I guess this makes sense. Up until relatively recently in human history, you had to think about things like raiders and bandits. So there was a strong motivation to build in places that was hard to get to. Like in a marsh, because you can't get your horse in there. Or high in the mountains, because it's a trek to get up there. We take for granted our safety these days, but that's was the reality of human existence for much of our history after we began farming. What up, Strategy, for playing Mundaun? It's a Scandinavian, like Swedish or Swiss horror game set in the Alps. Hard to see how they make that. I can jump. Barely. I guess I'm the whitest of white men, so I can't jump. It's a black and white pencil-styled Scandinavian horror game. As yet, I'm not really sure what it's all about. It plays a lot like Penumbra. I gather items, I read stuff, I put things in my notebook. If I'd known about that path sooner. I feel bad for laughing at that. I understood that reference, however. This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps. That must have confused so many children and given them irrational fears of the Alps. It does, but it makes me feel like we live in a fake fantasy world that we no longer have to think about those considerations. Like, the way that we live is so abstracted from what the reality of life was for most of history. I guess if you want to go further back, I'm sure that bears and wolves look at us and think that we're soyjacks. Like, get a load of this ridiculous thing walking around on two legs with fabric body coverings instead of fur. It doesn't have a burrow. It doesn't have a stockpile of food for winter. What a joke. How does this creature even live? I was just down here and the fog wasn't this bad. It really sneaks up on you, doesn't it? It's like the sound of music. Startigiff, have you ever seen the movie Gentlemen Broncos? Oh, I can open this. I never knew that. It's fucking delightful. It's basically like Napoleon Dynamite 2. Spiritually. I understood all of that. It came out in 2009. It's very much the same type of humor. Just like, look at these weird people and all this awkward cringe humor. But it's got a relatable storyline about a young writer having his work plagiarized by a author he looked up to. But it's interspersed with medium production value vignettes showing scenes from his science fiction novel, Yeast Lords. I did say Yeast Lords, Lords of Yeast. I can't really show it to you on YouTube because I'll get copyright struck. It's still delightfully surreal and bizarre, though. It also made me realize that white people are kind of scary. It makes you see white people the way that POC see white people. I mean, I don't mean like regular white people. I mean like white, ultra white people from like Montana or Wyoming. Look up clips on YouTube. It'll the clips of the story sequences. It's weird because it's about a sci-fi novel written by a homeschooled kid who lived a very insular existence. Travel? How far can you travel? I guess if you stay in the Alps. Not too shabby. Very modern appliances for the setting. Can I shit?
Oh.
I pee sitting down? I'm Swedish, I guess. Wash your hands, you savage. Oh, you can't. Oh, working mirrors. What? What's happening? I'm becoming dark. Every Swede's worst nightmare. Can I not? It's not reproducible? It's a hallucination. I can't make it happen twice. Must not be crucial to the overall campaign.
I jorden do jaren de tat. Huh? Quai vabo.
It's a little man.
Na. Boschia. Na. Boschia. Na. Boschia.
Huh. Anyway, it's hard to believe it was filmed in 2009. It seems really contemporary. I need a cross for that. This is turning into Resident Evil real fast. So they have indoor plumbing and they have electricity. It's got to be after 1910 because even cities were just getting electricity in 1910. They say after the war, so this is post World War II or World War One. It could be either one. Aha. If I close this. It seems an enchanting place to spend the summer, but also that like it'd become unlivable in the winter. Like incompatible with human life.
Quai vabo.
How can that not work?
Quai vabo.
How can that key not work? What am I doing wrong? Am I gonna have to look up a walkthrough? Do I need this sled for anything? It makes sense to me why the good afterlife, or part of the good afterlife in Scandinavian pagan religion, was the summer lands, where it's just summer all the time. If you live in a land which is just beautiful and warm and lovely during the summer, but just hellishly cold and snowy in the winter.
Il muvel meuncas il placat. asters vid la lavura von biaons. Quel sai o dovrà apitar per magasinar causas.
Ghostly frying pan.
Quel sai o dovrà apitar per magasinar causas.
Alright. Alright, so this is going to be my level hub.
Quel sai o dovrà apitar per magasinar causas.
So that's how that works. Gotcha. Oh, medieval box beds.
Yes, è proprio bodrumios.
These seem so cozy, but also like they would get really stuffy and have poor air circulation. Did anyone asphyxiate in a bed like this before we understood what air was? Crazy to think we could live as long as we did without knowing what air was, or that it existed.
Io trovo il budapli.
Alright, you don't need more of those. Alright, so this is like your home base. This is your safe area where you store items.
Implacat per scurzeladas de notte. Eu scurzalava la dina și bugendelas, pleuncas del Mundaun giù.
Good shadows. We take those for granted now. We're just playing a game where that was like a big innovation. I need to visit my grandfather's grave, and I haven't done that yet.
Na, boschia. Na, boschia.
I don't know. I don't know. That's the graveyard right there. It's not clear how to get to it, though. Oh, there's a cable car. This seems like an improbable level of technology for people to have built out of logs and twine in the Alpine region. Also, I don't think cable cars can go around corners like that. I'm fairly sure they can't. Swedish lies!
Ja.
I can stab shit now. How does your car work in that weather? Mine is already doing engine running due to low temperature, which is probably a bad sign. It's like in the 30s out, which is not that cold. It kind of makes sense that that our ancestors conquered the world because we evolved in such a shit part of it. Like we were like dibs on Northern Europe, and everyone else is like, that's fine. That's shitty land. That's cold most of the year, and they're like, oh no, what have we done? So then we got in our ships and we went and we stole everything from everyone else. Oh no. Also, I guess our women were really ugly because the Vikings basically went around the world abducting beautiful women as non-consensual brides. Like almost the entirety of Swedish genome is captured concubine DNA. That's my theory too, is that we are the way that we are because of cold weather adaptations, including our tendency to xenophobia. Because if there's limited resources and winter's going to kill everyone, and you kind of don't want to take care of anybody that you're not directly related to, because you have a limited food supply.
Quai babo.
How can that not work?
Nah. Boshia.
What does that key go to then? If you live in a place where it's warm all year round, you don't need to build housing, really. You don't need to get good at it anyways. You just need shelter for when it briefly rains. You only need to get really good at building structures if you live someplace where it gets really cold. Also, heat impairs brain function. So there may have been something to guns, germs, and steel, even if its larger conclusions were broadly panned by anthropologists. I don't think it's possible. It is possible, but I don't think he was all wrong. Let me in. Soft men. Boomers are those soft men, he says as he streams. Starter Gift, do I have you on Discord? It doesn't seem like it should be true. Like when it's cold, I don't want to do anything except get warm. But I guess if you don't have a way to do that, then you would be really fucking motivated to make one. Is that reflected in Asia? Are there differences in the developmental histories of different kinds of Asians depending upon local climate and resource availability? I wonder. I know you had your own throwbacks who lagged, like the Ainu, who persisted in a kind of old-fashioned lifestyle longer than their neighbors. Cold men make warm times. Wouldn't the smart move be to try to expand our civilization into ever more hostile regions in order to cultivate more of those qualities?
Pare che la porta è serrata dentro dentro.
Shouldn't we colonize like the moon and the ocean and Antarctica in order to weed out? This is going in dangerous direction. Oh, hey, here's a
Ha! Il movel de tat.
the fuck is a moval? I guess that's what they call cars. Interesting. What would I read to learn more about that? But it seems like the overall conclusion is that you don't want people getting too comfortable. You want there to always be some kind of selective pressure and survival stress on your populace. There's another key. Can I get in the movable?
Signor Scolast, Magister Mason, ce canare squaces todo qua.
Nies vicin, el diaken en seu fill Agustín de places que fan. Quels fan pilles scalí.
De places,
Quail bat de Dr. John.
The battery works. I'm trying to come up with an alternative to batteries in my fantasy setting, my post-apocalyptic pseudo-fantasy setting. I've got compressed air cylinders, but I also want there to be a competing paradigm. So my thinking is that there are structures made out of carbon fiber that were made by the Terminators, or the intelligent machines of yore, and that by taking shavings of those, by using carbon fiber blades harvested from robots, war machines, you can make a very long, thin, like a couple molecules thin ribbon, which you can then wind up into a spring box. I've read hypothesis. I've read some engineering speculation that you could make a very good wind-up mechanism that would be have energy density greater than compressed air and close to that of batteries if you had carbon fiber springs. They were like a couple molecules thick.
Quai vabo.
So my thinking was, what you do
Na, Oshia.
is, instead of having machines that have built-in spring boxes, you have the spring box be removable. You have a framework built around it out of metal that restrains the spring when it's fully wound, and it can plug into and out of different machines as a portable power source. And then you use something like a windmill to wind it up again, or water power. I've been ignoring all the signposts until now. Oh my. Seems unwise to...
Zup vegl.
I'll hide out.
Blidauel. Gise no sei presentau in cheu. Durant il temps che ho tirtat, senta la mort de mes geniturs.
Around a cave. Oh, that's what that's for. Why is the candle casting a directional light? Oh. Aw.
E ha presentau Gise la leunga per inflar ils drets crabs.
Oh, that's their parents.
Sil meins a schiel sei o scharrivens.
My hand's probably not supposed to do that. I want to guess. I would have gotten up to so much chicanery if I had a private cave as a kid. I would have been like making bombs and shit in there. The children yearn for the caves. They want to recapitulate Al-Qaeda. If capitulate means surrender, then why does recapitulate mean to repeat a sequence? I need to look at the etymology of those words at some point. This is kind of like a little paradise, honestly. This would not be the worst place to grow up, as long as you had kids your own age to socialize with. Where is grandfather's grave, however? I learned about tidal mills for my story. Everyone knows what a windmill is. A tidal mill is the same idea of milling grain into flour, but using tidal forces to do it instead of wind, which is of course much more limited because you have to wait for the tides. It's a linear mechanism you set up on the shore. It moves the stone up and down the grain. Is that lazy, or does that work in smart, not hard? I'm hungry. Good thing I went grocery shopping the other day. I won't have to go out to eat something. I'm gonna eat something right now, actually. I don't even have to wait. Amazing! Shopping for real food and keeping it in your fridge. Not just going to taco trucks all the time. I'll probably save money, too. Although, actually, it works out very similarly. These are $3 sandwiches from a deli. And they're about as much food as a $2.50 taco from the taco truck. You know what I mean? That white people don't like spicy food? Where does that come from? I see what they're getting at. A lot of ethnically white food from like Germany or even France, or England is the worst offender. It's very bland, but I never understood that you were supposed to eat it without any seasoning. I understood that as like the base meal, and that seasoning was up to you per your taste. When I eat Italian food, though, it's like this is what food can be, or Mexican food.
A casa da ta con l'urgezia raccontava la dina a me che la sei divenida costruita.
I love spicy foods. I actually have ulcers in my esophagus that the doctor keeps warning me about because I eat so much spicy food and I drink so much coffee. Can't get enough of it. I mean, we're supposed to be the people who hate spices, but we're also the people who subjugated much of the East in order to get spices. And shitty British food is why we did that. Italian food is advanced noodle technology. They have like 50,000 kinds of noodles. They have more types of noodles than nature has types of beetle. Which, I mean, fair enough, noodles are really good. So a lot of energy went into innovating in the noodle field. You are right, though, overall. A lot of foods we cherish today are like culinary Stockholm syndrome. Even many bougie foods started out as peasant foods, as foods of desperation. Like blue cheese. Or cheese in general. Do you think, that even in the modern era, there are any big food breakthroughs waiting to happen? We don't think of food as a science, but it kind of is. Like the discovery of cheese. The discovery of bread. The discovery of bread was like the invention of the wheel. It was such a fundamental step in food science. Do you think there's any grand unified theory of food yet to be discovered? Some amazing new genre of food we've just not thought of making yet? It was dock workers, as I understand it, try to give. Same rationale as the sandwich. You could hold it in your hand and move as you were eating. Finger food. Made entirely with stuff that peasantry would have access to. Namely, dock workers would have access to fish and seaweed. And they would have access to rice from rice farmers. Caviar also was a peasant food.
Na, Boshia.
What do I do here? Nobody wanted to eat caviar once upon a time. Likewise, foie gras. Stuff like that became bougie because rich people thought it was a funny novelty to intentionally eat like gentrified versions of poor people food. Like, haha, look at me! What a lark! How quaint! I'm eating poor people food. Lobster, that's true. It used to be a throwaway food for coastal working class. And then it was popularized. It was actually popularized as a food eaten on trains. I remember reading about that. Nobody's answering the question, though. Have we seen the end of big innovations in food? The closest thing I've ever seen to a culinary genius was actually Stamper. I think when he was tweaking hardest. Were you around for that? His whole food era? He used to post like 16 or 17 brand new dish ideas per day. I don't know why meth did that to his brain, but it was kind of magical. I wish I'd written them down. They were good ideas. My gut tells me we'll never see another innovation as big as like bread or cheese. Because bread and cheese don't just exist naturally. They're not like a natural ingredient. They have to be processed. You have to ferment milk to make cheese. And you have to combine yeast and flour and all these things in steps to make bread. It's kind of unfathomable to think about how that was invented. Like how someone came up with that just by trial and error. It makes you really respect that whole pursuit. Are these animals? What big food breakthrough have we not discovered yet? I want to say it's something in the deep ocean that is not yet discovered. Something like ingredient, or I think probably there's also in the realm of drugs. There are probably psychoactive deep sea flora, or fungi, or corals, or some organism in the deep sea that's probably a psychedelic compound that we have never tried before. That keeps me up at night. Oh, that's true. I guess if you have lab-grown meat, you can also tweak the genome to make it almost anything you want. We've done enough. We've done enough to horseshoe crabs. We've run fucking vampire farms like in Daybreakers. Milking those poor little fuckers for their precious bodily fluids. It's like a plasma donation center. Speaking of which, I was selling plasma recently because I have a scheme I'm working on that requires a lot of money up front. And I got to thinking about a worst case scenario where we don't get basic income, but all the work that's possible to automate does get automated. What jobs will still exist? And I conclude it's mostly things related to human bioproducts. Like they won't be able to automate the production of blood or plasma or sperm or human spinal fluid or any of the biological products the wealthy might wish for life extension. I start from the worst case scenario assumption that there will be nothing impossible to automate. Nothing that humans do can't be automated. I think probably that there will always be demand for sex with real humans. If it gets to the point where you can legally grow brainless humans and harvest organs or bioproducts from them, all bets are off. We're just getting exterminated. Also, if you could just grow like a clone of Mathilda May or who's that Japanese broad with the huge knockers? Hitomi Tanaka. If you could clone Hitomi Tanaka and just but not grow any neurons and fill the head cavity with an AI computer that would control the body, it would be legal to own that thing, whatever you call it. It's like a cyborg. It's a reverse of what you usually think of as a cyborg. where the body is metal and the brain is organic. That'd be a legal sex slave. Which is a morbid thing to think about. If you just imagine body farms where they make human bioproducts like that, then what would we have left to offer? I think we are just looking at a brutal period of depopulation by various means, like world wars and pandemics. And worsening climate conditions causing people to die if they can't live indoors with scrubbed air. It's kind of Skynet either way. It kind of doesn't matter who commands the Terminators. If the outcome is the same. You know what I mean? If it's trying to kill us either one way or the other. I like having food in there. I need another fridge, though. I've got one that is almost always full of drinks. I don't have room for a full-size fridge, though, in this small space. I have room for, like, two, Danby fridges side by side, and then I could put a cube freezer somewhere. Sure where. You know, I could put it underneath my computer tower. Make better use of the vertical space. That might work, actually. Oh, while also cooling my computer. I guess performances. Wealthy people might still want, like, musicians. They might still want to see human blood sport. It couldn't just be sport because robots could do that. It'd have to be sport where you get injured and bleed. Fuck. Can't walk up that. Man, depth seems weird on a flat monitor when you're used to VR. When you move away from something, it looks like you're zooming out of an image.
Boshia. Na, Boshia.
I can't figure it out. I'll come back to this after watching some walkthroughs. And I guess for the last minute or few minutes of the stream tonight, I'll play. I'm never playing this. Never. Blimp game. Let's uninstall this. It was like 99 cents. Not a big deal. Why coward? I couldn't figure out what the fuck to do. Can I rotate the thrusters? Does that work? Surely that should only work with engines. I've also been thinking about buying one of those 1 to 10 volt mini dryers so I can dry clothing. I have to remember how to play this. It was really dicey for a while early on before I had enough room to walk around. This has become a much nicer place to live in the intervening period. I haven't been up here. All right, now I need some kind of power up to be here. Remember that. I need to craft something. I don't want aesthetics. I can create an auto-filtering water bottle. That's worth my resources. Fucking here we are. Where's the bottle? How to make epoxy. What do I want the king size bed for? Is it better? Or is that just for co-op? Okay, I see the water bottle. Suit printer. Here we are. Filter bottle. Alright, polymer green colander. I thought I had that. I got one somewhere. Shit's complicated. More so than it seems. Alright. I like my cozy little fort. No girls allowed. Unless they're pretty and smell nice. And are nice to me. And can tell funny jokes. And then you can have all my shit and do whatever you want. Them's the rules. You don't have to like it. I'm lonely. I want a pet. Also, why is furniture a separate printer?
Printing completed.
Why could this not have been printed in one of these? Seems like it's just to take up space. See if I can put this anywhere. Oh, so it's a floor shelving unit. I guess I can occupy floor space with shit now. Is that good? It'll make the space productive where it wasn't before. I guess I'll just fill up the middle of the room with shelving. Straight up jorking it. There we go. That ought to do it for a while.
Printing completed. Printing completed. Printing completed.
Nope. 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 Green colander. There's a lot of logistics in this game. Everything more than it needs to be. I'm running out of food. Where did I cook things? Here we go. Keep forgetting the basic loot. You mean to tell me you can replicate filters, but you can't use the same technology to make the filters reusable? Dubious.
Printing completed. Here we go. You shouldn't have to water them either. There should be a water system built into this. It's all just make work. It's not logical. It's gotta be a small seed. Fair enough. I could have sworn I had a green colander already. So I don't have access to a dryer, and also I'm not willing to go to a laundromat because it's like $1 for 5 minutes. So you wind up spending $10 to fucking wash and dry your clothes. What I've been doing instead is using my space heater to dry and warm the air in my bedroom, and using a shelving unit to drape clothing over with fans pointed at it, which humidifies the room while also drying my clothes. It's not a perfect system, but it I don't know what I can say to defend it. I'm living in a dysfunctional situation. A lot of the clutter is getting cleaned up, though. A cleaning service has been stopping by every weekday and just taking away crap that got left outside so long it got ruined and rusted to shit, which should have happened literally a decade ago, which is when I started talking about it first. It's finally happening. The boat is gone, which was never even used once. It was just never used. It was just there so that there was a boat by the house. So if anyone else had a boat, we had a boat too. And it rotted to shit. All the broken down boat cover pieces were hauled away. The fucked up remains of my rooftop cargo carrier, which I wish I could have repaired, but I just never knew how to. And if you make excuses like that and they say I'll get to it one day, then you never clean anything up. There we go.
Printing completed.
And now I can get rid of bottles I don't need. How do I get rid of something? I don't want regular bottles anymore. I guess I shouldn't throw anything away. That would be inefficient of me. This is not a world where... Nope. Don't sleep. This is not a world which rewards waste. I haven't learned how to use upgrade modules yet. I will. So I guess this means that now I can filter water without using the water filter. I should make more than one of those.
Printing completed. Printing completed.
There we go. Actually, I think what that does is it replaces this thing. Which means if I go here... It takes a fucking hour? It takes an hour to filter dirty water. I guess that's better than nothing. It doesn't replace the regular filter at all. What have I done? What a ripoff. Or maybe I'm just a fool. I took a risk on something new. You can't learn anything by not risking anything. So I'm having trouble. If anyone can help me with it, I'd be much obliged. I want to emulate Sega Saturn games. I have a Sega Saturn Retrobit controller, but it doesn't want to map it correctly in RetroArch. RetroArch assumes very deeply that what you have is an Xbox controller. So it doesn't seem able to map a 6-button controller. except as a 4-button controller with all the shit that an Xbox controller has. It does not seem like it was programmed with allowances for having the accurate... I even downloaded Yabaus. Yabaus? Hey, Baus. Unexpected Filthy Frank. And it wouldn't fucking accept the inputs. I put DirectX 1.3 .dll into the same folder and it didn't work. I can make it work in RetroArch, but I can't get it to accept unless I map like thumbstick presses as the X and Z buttons, or X and Y buttons. I just like the tactile experience of using the correct controller for a console. I didn't get the $50 one that has the thumbsticks built in because that's not authentic to the Saturn. That's just so you don't have to switch to a 3D pad. But I'm thinking I'm going to dig my 3D pad out of storage. And there's a Bluetooth adapter for that. So if I want to play Nights into Dreams, I can do so with the correct gamepad. It sounds expensive, but it's much cheaper than actually buying the consoles. Which I'm not going to do because I have them in storage already somewhere, and that would... Then I'd get into the hobby more seriously, which would have me doing foolish things like buying HDMI adapters and upscalers and Saru flash cartridges and whatnot, when I can just emulate and just use the controller and have 99% the same experience. That's the one thing I do insist upon, because there are some games where they're really designed around the buttons being in a certain location, and it's like a bulk slash, and it's very difficult to play on any other controller. This is one of the saddest apocalypses in fiction, because it's so pretty, and it would be majestic if it wasn't the way that it is. Yeah, living in tree houses would have been cool if we had done it voluntarily. Then again, we kind of were doing that. We had built buildings as tall as they needed to be already. Like the Burj Khalifa. You ever played the Hitman mission set in the Burj Khalifa, and it gives you a real sense of scale of how fucking unbearably, immensely tall that monstrosity really is? It's astonishing. Medical what now? That goes there. It goes there. It goes there. I should probably make some cures with that, but I need to eat food ASAP or I'm gonna die. Does the gameplay loop get easier? Where I'm not constantly just trying not to die? Like a submarine, you're just somewhere you're stuck. And you're gonna die if anything goes wrong. They need like escape pods, like parachute escape pods. I know there's been some efforts to design stuff like that. Or maybe like really long fireman poles. That's got to be better than nothing. Boiled honey, is that possible to eat? Is that going to be gross? Is there a faster way to cook? Can I upgrade? There are upgrade modules. I haven't used them for anything of note yet.
Printing completed. Printing completed. Printing completed.
I'm a hungry lad. There was an option when I started to adjust the speed at which hunger accrues. I could have done that, I just didn't do it. I don't know why. I guess I didn't know it would be this bad. That poisons me? Eating it raw? As eating anything raw poisons me.
Printing completed.
Alright, so we're not supposed to be here yet. I don't know why we can't advance. We need something we don't have yet. The idea of fucking replicating fuel is stupid, though. If you have the energy to replicate shit, you also have the energy to directly power electric motors. There's no way you get more energy out of the fuel you replicate than you put into the replicator. This is just a stupid mechanic. A fucking futuristic blimp is not going to use combustion. Sun's going down. Let's supposed to go back to the way we came. There's a marker over this way. I don't know what that's about. I guess I'll go find out. Until I figure out how to destroy the infected plant, I can't go here. That's a dumb mechanic. I don't like it. I'm protesting it. There's already enough shit for the player to do. You don't have to have them replicate fuel. You can have them replicate solar panels on the gas bag. Can I build a fridge or a freezer so stuff doesn't keep spoiling? I hope so. There's 3 lights. I've got the ability to land on stations with up to 3 lights. There's lower ones too. I could have come here earlier. What did I damage, you big baby? I seen. Oh, there we go. I missed my flashlight. People have built submarines on YouTube. People have built rockets on YouTube, not to space. Blimps are one of the things that doesn't get built a lot on YouTube. It's so much of an undertaking.
Calories level is decreasing.
The reason there's not a lot of them in the world. Mostly the infrastructure, just the giant hangar you need. They could do something to make this less repetitive, looting these exact same structures over and over. It is pretty much the same structure. That goes all the way down there. I don't want to go down there. Can I move these backwards?
The limit of maximum flight altitude reached. The limit of maximum flight altitude reached. The limit of maximum flight altitude reached. The limit of maximum flight altitude reached.
I could also put them on the back. Let's see how that looks.
The limit of maximum flight altitude reached.
Oh no, they're too close to the engines.
The limit of maximum flight altitude reached. The limit of maximum flight altitude reached. The limit of maximum flight altitude reached.
One of them is already the most I can use. I had to have it symmetrical though. I'm a fiend for symmetry. There's interesting stuff this direction, apparently. I won't hit anything. Can you imagine Ukraine's newest missile? I've seen them doing crazy stuff, innovative stuff I wrote about in sci-fi books 20 years ago almost. Like using flying drones to deliver robot dogs, or using robot dogs as motherships for charging and delivering flying drones. This combination of robot systems like fucking Megazords. This is cool and mostly well thought out other than the fuel mechanic. Have you heard of plasma jets? It's like Chinese or South Korean or some shit. It's a type of jet engine that produces the same or very close to the same propulsion as a regular fuel jet, but it uses only electricity. Or electricity in like a feedstock material to get much better economy and flight time. But you basically need nuclear or fusion to power it. It has enormous energy requirements. What does the purple light mean? Does the purple light mean you can't go here yet? It's color-coded altitude. A lot of this game is just the travel time, doing other stuff while you cruise. It is, I think I've said this before, it's very much like Wind Waker in that respect. Which is a cozy feeling, but it does get annoying after a while. It's sort of a weird feeling to think that we're seeing the future warfare being invented in Ukraine as we speak, out of necessity. And we're witnessing how war accelerates development timelines out of a desire to not die. In the same way that World War II gave us many of the innovations in computing and electronics and microwaves and things. Let's see. What was I making? Oh yeah, fuel. poke around. Oh, well, I can't. I parked it in an inopportune place. How does one access this structure? I dare not drop down there.
Hydration level is decreasing.
Printing completed. Printing completed. Printing completed.
This was not the right way to go. What's that one over there? Is that one different? Can we land there? I hope so. Otherwise, I really ought to just double back. I wouldn't miss anything story appropriate. Anything mission critical. Autonomous kill drones. We're talking the future war. Not so. We're living in the future, but not the good one. What are those rings? Are those, if I fly my blimp into those eventually, can I accelerate my blimp? Are those blimp accelerators? Dare I hope for such a thing? I can't get high enough to land on. It doesn't make sense. I can't do that. That's not how airships work.
Unknown location reached.
Am I out of fuel? Fuel depleted.
Caution. A storm is coming.
Land lower down. Can I land here? Will it let me? Looks like I can. This should be tossing a blimp around like a toy. Winds like this. That's one of the downsides of blimps and airships.
Uncharted area. The preliminary analysis started. Analysis completed. Detected new objects requiring scanning.
Printing completed.
Aha. This one's accessible. Let's go inside. Very mysterious. We've never been in a structure like this before. What's this? What have we here? Remember all the promises we received that drones would never be able to autonomously kill a man? When we saw Boston Dynamics Big Dog, like, we'll never put a gun on this. Then they put a gun on it. Like, well, we'll never give it autonomous kill authority. And then they did that exact fucking thing. Deck extractor. This is a new machine I didn't have yet.
Printing completed.
What is that right there? Is that what I think that is? Epoxy. Aha. Well, I'm glad we're finding new areas finally, but we're going to see this exact same structure copied and pasted 100 times from here on out. I'm sorry to say. This is pretty cool though. Let's enjoy it while it's fresh. That's terrifying to think about. Being in a submarine is already terrifying if you think about getting hit and how that... As ways to die go, that's pretty grisly. Being trapped in a metal tube underwater while icy cold seawater gushes in. The air catches on fire. Being hunted by fucking Terminator robots under the water. I'm glad they're on our side. Epoxy. What did I need epoxy for again? Oh, the bed. Wasn't it here? No, it was in research. Here we go. Why you need epoxy for a bed is beyond me. We're about to have a big boy bed. It'll be less miserable of a place to sleep. We can do docking plank now. That's forward movement. Balloon core. Oh, you can add parallel balloons. Interesting. You can make a really big floating fortress, can't you? I don't see any need currently to make one larger than we have. Can I make a bed now? I can't, apparently. Chair, a casual table. I don't see any. It's a regular bed. I want the upgraded bed. How I get upgraded bed?
Printing completed.
Should be able to put that closer together. Guess that's as close as it gets. Did I hallucinate? I saw a nicer bed. Machine parts, shards? I mean, machine parts, epoxy. Every good thing I want to make requires shit I don't have. Probably begin filtering more water. So living on a farm. I'm gonna stay here. There's probably stuff I haven't found yet. Or looted. This is an interesting location. This would make a good TV show, because every new tower is like a new episode. In the same way in Star Trek, every new planet's a new episode. I could totally see this being a Netflix thing. Did I unlock or did I not unlock a nicer bed? Did I imagine that? I must have imagined it. Oh, here we go. Upgrade fabricator. I don't have one of those yet. How do I get an upgrade fabricator? Oh, it's like with the thing I have in my hands, but it's more powerful. Cool. Energy crystal required, however. Cool. There are better ways to do these things. I forget what I was doing. Oh, Amber king size bed. For which I need the upgrade thingamajig. Plant resin. I know how to make that. I have the formula now. Do I have this yet? I don't seem to have ever picked up the blueprint for the upgrade fabricator. How did I miss that? Where was that actually? Where was I supposed to get that? I guess I'll have to find out next time. Probably I'll cheat, honestly. I'll look at a guide. The next time I'll seem so smart, I'll know just where to go. I'm gonna finish my storage. How do I actually use this? How do I make use of it? I don't seem to see any way to put things on it. I can't open it. What's the point of these? How do I put shit on here? Have I been building these for no reason? It seems almost as if I might have been.
Calories level is decreasing.
Now how much I can do about that right now? Okay, eat seeds. Can't. Easy way to go stir crazy. Living in a shut-in single room.
Printing completed.
Boy, that looks like slop. It does not look great. It's not as pleasurable a lifestyle as I initially assumed. So things to investigate. Number one, why don't I have an upgrade cabinet or console? or what have you.
Printing completed.
It shouldn't say printing completed, it should say cooking completed. Someplace I haven't been to that I need to be at. It gives me an upgrade console. That's my next goal.
Printing completed.
They say a watch pot never boils. Myth busted. Myth busted. That's not enough for this evening. I'll figure things out off camera. You ever think when we get full dive VR, you'll just waste away in it and never come out? I want to say yes, but that's what I thought about regular VR, and I don't use it more than once every couple days. Stick around for the raid. Don't you go nowheres. It's a different raider. It's a different stream every time. You never know what you're gonna get. You never know what you're gonna get. That's your cue, though, Short Talk. Get at me again on Monday. Wow, end of the week already. Same time, same channel at 7 o'clock p.m. West Coast time, 11 o'clock p.m. West Coast time. This is your friendly neighborhood handout signing off for returning you to your regularly scheduled raid. Assuming... there you are. Wake up. Pick one out of a hat. Do you have a hat handy? You should have a hat with, like, the different channels written on paper. That's tradition.